Where is P&C Podcast? What the fuck? Crackle Smokes Cheese, come on. Righto. Get ready. Yeah, we're live, mate.
Alright, you wanna intro us, Pete?
G'day, everybody. Welcome to the P&C Podcast version 3.
Yes, sir.
Talking about this week's hot topics.
In the
NBA.
sporting industry.
Got a bit of NBA. Got a bit of UFC. Big fights happening over there. And much more. See, do you want to roll into the first segment?
Well, I know we're going to talk about NBA, but there's another basketball.
Event.
Sorry, I just concentrated on this Overwatch game. Another basketball competition in Australia where there was a nasty dunk, probably one of the greatest in-game dunks I've ever seen, by Cam Oliver.
The big sir himself.
What's
of
it?
the Cairns Taipans.
Yes. One of the nastiest dunks I've ever seen in-game dunks.
It was beautiful. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you jump on over to Instagram and have a look on either the NBL or ESPN sites.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty filthy. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, if I can say so myself.
Yeah.
It was just... man's soul has just left his body. Like, it was...
Yeah.
Just nasty.
If you want, go and check the Wikipedia page of Mr. I believe it's Scotty... Oh, it's Craig Moller. If you go have a look at Craig Moller's Wikipedia site, there's some great information on what's occurred there.
Yes.
I believe he's retired from the game immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I would if I... Actually, no, I wouldn't. I'd try and get him back. But, no, mate, I probably wouldn't, because I can't dunk.
That's alright, mate. Happens to everyone.
You would, though, P, wouldn't you, mate?
Oh, of course, mate. The 50-inch vert's got to come in handy eventually.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But, on that, what was I going to say? We'll move on to the actual basketball.
The NBA.
And today's games, P, you want to get started off with the first one?
The first game we had today was a bit of a sizzler. We had Miami versus Brooklyn.
Yes.
Brooklyn came up on top with a big score of 124 to 128. High scoring affair there. It was good viewing, good offensive basketball.
Yes.
Special shout out to our man Bam Adebayo with a whopping 41 points and 9 assists I did see, which you love to see from the big fella. Really good skill set he's got there.
New career high as well, P, you might add.
Yeah, it was, eh?
Yes.
He hasn't been really known to get on the scoreboard as much, so good effort from the big fella, I reckon. Real playmaker.
More of a defensive centre.
Yeah, defensive playmaker. Right. Next game.
Can we just start on that Brooklyn game for a moment? I'd just like to say that Brooklyn have a major problem, which is defense and depth. But I think we'll get to that later on when we talk about the teams and how they've settled into the first month of the NBA. Yep,
that's a great idea, Connor.
Yes.
We're just going to move on over to the Pels and the Timberwolves. Good game there. The Pels having a bit of a rough time, and the Timberwolves coming out on top of 110 to 120.
Yes. Shout out to the Timberwolves. Without D'Lo, without Cat, they get the dub. One underrated player from them that I've been keeping a close eye to all season is backup centre Naz Reid. He's been very strong. He's
been a horse.
12, he's averaging about 12 a game, and he's just a good player. I do
Very
like him a
aggressive.
lot. What have you got to say on that, Pete?
Yeah, I haven't personally watched many Timberwolves games, as you could imagine.
Oh, I could imagine.
But I have noticed a little starlet coming through, and that is Malik Beasley.
Yes.
He has really been performing well. I believe his numbers are up around the 20 points a game, just a bit lower on the short side of it.
Solid. That is very solid.
You can't be impressed with much more than that, really.
No.
Really impressive stuff from the kid. I don't know if it's kid.
Another one. I mean, he's been putting up some good numbers. I know he's a rookie and he's been struggling these last few games, but Anthony Edwards, he does have that potential.
He has picked up the last few games. I've noticed. Just having a quick look through the box score, he's picked up his output, and yeah, it's looking good for him.
Yes.
Right.
What's the third game there, Pete?
The third game we've got is Houston and Dallas. Houston coming out on top with that one with 133 points towards Dallas's 108.
Now, Houston, haven't been the strongest side all season.
Yep.
But good to see him get a win with the. I believe Christian Wood wasn't playing, who is their strongest player.
Yep. Yeah, I do believe he was out also. But it has been impressive from the Rockets. They've really performed well without Harden.
Yes.
Oladipo is proving to be a very good pickup for them.
Yes, Oladipo. And what was the box score from today, P?
Box score, I can tell you in a moment. It is looking like we had a couple of starlets. Eric Gordon, with a quick 30-point game, dropping 6 threes at 66.7%. A real sniper.
He's playing well these last 2 games. I did see he dropped the Rockets win against the Pistons 20 as well. So he's been having some solid games lately. Big Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
After comments at the start of the year with his role being unhappy with his role in the team.
A big game from DeMarcus Cousins, returning back to his 2016 self, his dominant period of time when he was one of the top centres of the league, dropping a whopping 28 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and scoring 50% from 3 behind the arc. That is some real good work there, dropping 4 threes.
Love to see that from Boogie.
Some more good shiners. We got Mason Jones. He's dropped 16 points in 18 minutes of game time, as well as David Nwaba dropping 18 points in 26 minutes of game time.
He's very solid, David Nwaba. Alright, now my Overwatch game is done. I should be able to concentrate a little bit more on the podcast, Pete.
I appreciate that one, mate. Moving on to Dallas, seeing if there's any performers, and Boban, the all-time great Boban Marjanovic, has
lovable.
Got a double-double. He's dropped 15 points and 12 rebounds.
In 19 minutes, if I'd like to add.
Yep.
And also, Dallas, they need to get Lucas some help. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah, it's we'll talk about this later on in the segment, but it's been a very, very tough time for the Mavericks. Josh will talk to you about your comments just later on in the show, but if that's all right.
Yes. We'll have a questions segment after we go through today's NBA games.
Yep.
Just see if there's any questions there. All right. So we've had Anthony Davis. He's been struggling the past few games, but he's come out and he's dropped he's dropped 37 points. Good to see AD getting up there. What are your thoughts on that, Pete?
Oh, I'm very surprised with him. He's putting an all-round effort there today. He also put a bit on the defensive end, which is also quite impressive. Someone who's been a bit quiet for them is Marc Gasol.
Yes.
Played 18 minutes of game time. Only had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 blocks. You'd expect more from the man, but it's a very good effort otherwise from the Lakers. Very well rounded. LeBron with his classical scoreline didn't score 20 points, only had the 17. But other than that, it was a very good performance.
And on Chicago's side, there's really not much to commentate on, though. Patrick Williams is balling as a rookie. Very nice.
Very impressive.
And P, I see a viewer has got a bit distressed as we've actually missed a game from earlier. Philadelphia versus the Pistons.
Yes. Very nice game there from Philadelphia. I know one of our viewers is a very big fan of the Philadelphia 76ers and that man in the 25, Ben Simmons.
Yes.
Taking a look, we can see Simmons had a superb game with the near triple-double and the 3 steals and a block. Embiid with his near MVP type numbers of 33 points,
so far,
15 rebounds, assist, a steal, and 2 blocks. A really well-rounded effort from him. You'd love to see it.
Danny Green, Danny Green. Great to see Ben Simmons though. Slow start of the season, was copping a bit of heat.
Yeah.
But he's these last 2 games. I watched the Boston game the other day. He was the reason they won in the last quarter. In this game with the almost triple double. Nice to see that from the fellow Australian Benjamin Simmons.
Yeah. I totally agree with you there.
And from Detroit's side, really not much. They're down bad at the moment. I don't know where they're going.
They could
Jeremy Green. Yes.
They should buy a ticket to Saudi Arabia and just pack up, go home, boys. We'll see you next year.
Oh, you've heard it here first. You've heard it here. Paddy has said, pack it up, Pistons. I still reckon they're 3-13. They probably won't make playoffs, but they compete. They just need to hold on to those leads.
Yep. Now moving on to our second last game of the day. That was the Warriors and the Jazz. The Jazz coming out on top by 19 points. 108 to 127. A big win for the Jazz. No real big performers as such. Just very consistent and strong games from the gentlemen in the white and purple.
Yes. And one thing I'd like to say is congratulations on this game to Steph Curry for moving up to second in all-time three-pointers.
I did see that. That's a very big achievement.
He's changed the basketball game, Stephen Curry.
He is chasing down Ray Allen for that number 1 spot.
I reckon he's got it in the next 3 years.
Next 3 years, I'm calling it next year. That's a guarantee, as Charles Barkley would say.
Yes.
I'd put big money on that.
And besides that, Utah's in great form. Moving on to the last game, Denver Nuggets, the back-to-back game, Denver Nuggets versus Phoenix Suns. The Denver won yesterday, and they've brought out a win today in overtime without Devin Booker. What are your thoughts on this, Pete?
Well, the Nuggets have played very good basketball for the last couple of days.
Yes.
Jamal Murray really brought them back in there with that game-tying buzzer beater. But when something like that happens in basketball, you kind of expect the momentum and the confidence to shift amongst the group, and you can see that's what happened there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Besides that, Chris Paul, 21, 13 assists. Mikal Bridges, who I really like. Cam Johnson has been balling this year for the Phoenix.
Yep.
And
Ayton also had a strong... Jokic with that big monster game. He had 30 points and 22 rebounds.
He'd be pushing Embiid's case for MVP, Jokic.
He would be hot on his tail, which is good to see. A couple of big men really forcing for that MVP and taking it back to the late 90s and early 2000s with the big Shaq and Hakeem and all those sorts of names, which is good to see.
And we're just going to stop here on today's NBA games and ask the viewers, have you got any questions? One viewer, do you have any questions?
Any questions there, viewers? Go got anything for us?
We'll give him 2 minutes. We'll have a quick drink break.
Yep. Now we've got a top fan of the podcast. We've got a
7'7" machine, Maggie.
Yep. He's asked for our thoughts on Clint Capella. What's your thoughts on that one, C?
Well, as a fellow Hawks fan to this 7'7" machine, Maggie, Capella has been balling lately. Top 5 centre in the league lately. Not this season, just lately. He's been a top 5 centre. He got snagged 26 rebounds the other day, and he's put up a triple double with 10 blocks.
I've been very happy with Clint Capella. He's really progressed well. You haven't really seen him at that level that he's at the moment.
Yes.
Which is good to see. He's a young player, young export out of Switzerland, so it's good to see him.
Yes.
He had that monster game a couple of days back. Sorry about that one. And yeah, it's good to see him perform at the level he has.
Yes.
Moving on, I guess.
What's the segment now, Pete?
We are moving into our shockers and our shines of the month so far. A big segment on the P&C podcast.
Yes.
See, do you want to take us away with your first shocker of the year?
My shocker, shocker team-wise, not player-wise, shocker team-wise has been, as we said before, the Pelicans. They are struggling. I'm not sure what's going on. The loss of Drew Holiday must have done them.
Yeah.
But they're struggling. What are your thoughts on them, Pete?
I think they've been lacking defensively since Drew has left. Some of that core leadership and that knowledge around the organisation has probably dropped off, as he was a very experienced member of that team and could lead them quite well. I'm sure the Bucks would be laughing at what they've achieved and bringing him into their organisation.
Yes.
But there's a couple of areas for improvement for the Pelicans. Zion Williamson is a bit of a shocker this year. He definitely needs to pick up his game to prove his hype status.
Yes.
I read somewhere only a couple of days ago that Zion has only scored 2 threes since his incredible debut. So,
no. Oh no.
Yeah, no, it's not flash from the big Zion.
And I want to know who your shocker team is so far.
My shocker of a team so far would have to be. You can't really put it on anyone, but I'd have to say Washington. I think they've been quite disappointing, to be frank. With a backcourt like Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, you're expected to win more than 3 games at the start of the season. Obviously, they've been affected by COVID and postponing of games, but obviously there's a lot to be asked and a lot that's still left on the table when it comes to how they are playing.
Yeah. My thoughts on Washington, if I'm excused, is they are absolutely useless defensively.
I'd agree.
Need help on defense. You come on now. Robin Lopez is not a starting centre who's going to carry your defense. He's a backup centre and he's a solid defender.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook, he's not known for his defense, but but he does get blown by a lot. And Bradley Beal is not the greatest defender in the world either, although he's the greatest offensive player in the NBA.
With the efficiency of Russ too, I think that could be hurting them defensively. As if they were a bit stronger defensively, I think they wouldn't be as. His mistakes would be a bit less effective and a bit less crucial towards the outcome of a result. But yeah, If they want to win games, they need to become more efficient and they need to be a lot more solid defensively.
Yes, and moving on to the positives, who's your shiner of the shiner team of the start of the season, Pete?
For me, it's hard to go past Indiana. I think they've played really well. They're currently sitting second on the East behind one of our top fans, Philly.
Shout out to JB Barnes.
He's a big fan of the Philadelphia organisation, and they're playing really good basketball at the moment. But having a look at the Pacers, they've had some good performers this year, and Domantas Sabonis, he's really lit it up so far.
He has lit it up.
Dougie McBuckets is dropping a couple of solid 12 points a night, which is very good from him.
Dougie McDermott.
Miles Turner has been bringing in early conversations of Defensive Player of the Year, averaging some quite high blocks, I believe.
Which will be the next topic after this, our award predictions 1 month through the year.
Yeah, he's averaging 4.1 blocks a game and a steal and a half, Miles Turner, so defensively they know they've got a player they can rely on there.
Yeah.
And then we've got the 2016 Rookie of the Year, Malcolm Brogdon, who's also putting up some really solid numbers there. Putting up 22.5 points a game and 7.2 assists. He's been very, very good for the Pacers.
Yep. And my thoughts on the Pacers is that they've been playing very well, considering they haven't had a healthy roster at all. Like TJ Warren has been out for a little bit of time. They've always got someone injured. I see they got Jeremy Lamb back the other day. That was a solid 6 man. And they've been doing very well indeed, Pete.
Whilst we're on the topic of the Pacers and injuries, we wish our thoughts towards Karis LeVert after a lump was found on his kidney. We wish the very best for him and the fastest return to basketball, as he will be sorely missed.
Yes.
Now, Connor, who's your shiner of the 2020-2021 season so far?
It came down to 2 teams, my shiner, and it was between the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I'm going to have to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have been outstanding so far.
They have been, led by the experience of Kevin Love and Andre Drummond and the scoring ability and dog nature of Colin Sexton.
Sexland.
He has been turning it on this year. One of the top scorers in the league, I believe. I believe he's near upwards of top 10, top 5 area.
He would be.
Apologies for that one. He's 12th in the league in scoring. Ahead of the likes of Kawhi, James Harden, Trae Young, Paul George and LeBron. So he's been very impressive. And we love to see it from the man.
Yes.
Awesome.
Also, while we're on the Cleveland Cavaliers, I know they are picking up, with the picking up of Jarrell Allen. I think that is great. They might have 100 big men, but that's just a great pickup defensively.
Yep.
Yes.
Agree with you 100% there. Andre Drummond is leading the league in rebounds per game. So you know you've got a horse on the boards and can really pick it up for you when you need it.
Yes.
Awesome.
And now moving on to the next topic of the podcast is our 1 month into the season award predictions so far.
Yep. Who's your early bolter for MVP, Connor?
Well, you just can't go past Embiid or Jokic, but it's got to be Embiid. You can't go past him. He's been the most dominant centre all year.
Yep, I agree with you 100% there.
Yes. What is yours?
I'd have to say Embiid too. I think he's putting up 28 points a game. He's putting up those big Shaq type numbers. He's proving everyone wrong after all the trade talks early on in the season, and you really like to see that sort of output from him after some injury troubles early on in his career.
Yes.
Now moving on, we got Defensive Player of the Year, Connor. Your take on that?
Well, my defence, although I'm a Hawks fan, I'd like to say Clint Capella, but Miles Turner has he's just stepped it up as we talked about before.
Yep.
He did, was it 4.1 blocks a game?
Yep.
I can't believe that Boston didn't try and trade Hayward for him. It just whooshed over my head.
They would be rolling in their grave if they really
in the air right now.
Yeah,
Boston
they'd be it's not looking good. If it would not be looking good for the Eastern Conference. Sorry, if Miles Turner had been traded to the Celtics. But moving on.
Well, I'd like to know who your Defensive Player of the Year is.
I'd have to agree with you there on Miles Turner.
Great minds think alike.
Some close considerations, though, I'd have to say, would be obviously Rudy Gobert. You could always count on Rudy to get the job done defensively. Averaging his 3 blocks a game almost. And also, I'd also have to say, our friend of the podcast, his name goes by Andre Drummond. I think looking at his numbers, it's not the flashes. Like, he's Andre Drummond. He's not efficient. He's not a big outside scorer, but defensively, numbers wise, he's really, really solid.
Yes.
He's taking those 16 rebounds a game. He's averaging a block and a half, and he's averaging almost 2 steals a game. So, defensively, he's going to be accounted for, and you can really pick it up there.
Yeah.
Rightio. Moving on.
Next one. Is,
Six Man of the Year. Six Man of the Year. Let's talk about that.
Haven't really paid attention to the 6 man, but there is one person that stands out to me, and that is Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz.
Yep, I agree with that. He's played very, very well so far this year.
Yes, would that be your pick as well?
I have to say so. LaMelo Ball was coming into early considerations, but the last few games he's got a bit less minutes due to some turnover errors and some playmaking errors. So
that's good coaching. That is good coaching.
Whether it's good coaching or not, because he's a rookie. You're not exactly going to make playoffs when you're the Charlotte Hornets every year. So I think you give your rookie time and let him play his craft. I don't think winning games should be at the top of your list when you've got a ceiling as high as LaMelo Ball.
Yes.
Getting your way.
Yeah. And talking about LaMelo Ball, there should be only one Rookie of the Year leader that both of us should say, and that is LaMelo Ball himself.
Yep, I'd agree with that 100%. There is not much competition going on right now for him.
I reckon there is one person who's maybe put on a little bit of a race, and that is Tyrese Halliburton of the not Toronto, the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, he's played very well so far.
Yes.
Don't quite have my numbers up yet. I'll have to call our statistician for that one.
Yes.
You have to hold
He's
there.
Averaging about 12 points a game, I'm pretty sure, Pete.
Wow, that's good numbers from him.
It is as a backup point guard.
It is very well. Very good stuff. Now, we've just had a friend of the podcast join us, and that is Big Bloomy. Is that correct?
Talk about your team, the Orlando Magic. What are your thoughts on the season?
We started off really strong when the last time he defeated in the league, and then really just went to shit afterwards. Just had injuries like
PG podcast.
Markel Fultz done ACL, wasn't it?
Yeah, Markel's done his ACL. Pretty horrible
Cole
news.
Anthony's game winner the other day.
Cole Anthony's game winner against, what was it, the Cavaliers, wasn't it? Or
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. Yeah, that's one. That was an amazing finish by him, and he has a very bright future at the Magic. Hopefully, he stays after a few years. He might become an NBA All-Star. We don't know, but I reckon he will.
Yes.
Yep.
What about the Atlanta Hawks?
We will talk about that after this one last award that me and Paddy need to predict.
We are currently in our most improved player.
Award.
There's a couple here. It's a very, very tough selection to make. There has been some really strong players and making a very strong case for this. Names that come to mind: Christian Wood, Jeremy Grant, and Julius Randle.
Yes. Out of those three, I reckon there's two, which is Christian Wood and Jeremy Grant.
Yep.
And out of those two, I have Jeremy Grant. I'm sorry. It's very close, but by a smidge, Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant leads the NBA in 20-point games. So there's a little fun fact for you.
I know he plays for the Pistons. I know they've got no idea what they're doing. But he is balling. Maybe an all-star.
That is a big call. We'll see what happens later on in the year with that one.
Now, moving on. Segment is talking about some certain NBA teams, as special guest Bloomy has brought up before, the Atlanta Hawks.
Yep.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on them?
Well, I think they've got a good young team. I think it's going to take time for them to build up the chemistry and all that for the team, but I think they have a bright future, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
Yep.
Was it Capella? Yeah, I've had a few blocks today.
He did.
And I think he's definitely good for the club.
Yes.
And, Atlanta definitely having a bright future in the future, I reckon.
And P, if I can interrupt, this segment is all about the special guest Bloomy. We're going to ask him NBA teams and get his results. Response. And then we'll move on to the last subject, which is the UFC fight today.
Oh,
but
the big showcase event of the week.
Yes.
What was your thoughts on it, Lando, our fighting specialist?
I think Jake Paul's gone to his head. After that, I think also the bald head. I don't think the bald head might have done him there.
Yes.
Yep.
I feel like because he cut his hair, just didn't form like he would normally, and one thing led to another, and he got knocked out. So I think Jake Paul's gone to his head, and he had a shit haircut, and that's what's undone him there. What about you, P?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I thought Connor's head wasn't in the right space for it. I don't think although he retired and he's he's out of the equation mentally. Yeah, I think you are, bud.
Well, again, I said it to P before. I watched the intros and then I was kicking the footy. And I did not actually watch the fight, but I came in and watched the results. And I think, as special guest Bloomy said, he's living rent free in Conor McGregor's head, and I think Conor McGregor is slightly washed.
Yep. I'd just like to apologise to our fan Drew Beto. He's asked us a question. He's asking, "Who the fuck is Jordan Clarkson?" Sounds like a bloody nobody.
I'd just like to say to Drew Beaton, thank you for your input on the live stream. We will take that into consideration. And yes, pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Just like to say that Drew has a rude head as well.
I agree.
Looking at statistics of his head and the haircuts he's had, he just has a rude head, to be honest with you. And there's nothing, no matter what haircut you have, mate, you're still gonna have a rude head, okay? So just shut your mouth and
But we'd also like to congratulate Drew on his appointing in McDonald's. He's he's got a job working for the Golden Arches, and we just like to congratulate him as one of the few bread earners of the community we have founded in P&C Podcast.
It's all about getting that bread, you know, cooking up those chicken nuggets every day.
He has been a guest on the podcast before. He has been a guest on the podcast before.
So you all should know him, and you should all be proud of him. He's a superstar.
Go tweet him.
Yep.
Alright, well, P, I reckon it'd be closed in on time to pack up the podcast.
Oh, I've just got a late segment come in. So, some big news has occurred yesterday. Obviously, Triple J's Hottest 100.
Yes, this is a talking point.
This is this has flown past my radar, but it's just recently come aboard my desk. So we had a bit of a shock coming on, obviously with our
WAP at 6. I think
WAP at 6.
I'm honestly just disgraced about that.
I'm heartbroken.
But yeah.
But it was disappointing to see that Booster Seat did not get win, but Heatwaves do deserve it, as it is a banger. It is a great summer tune. You got any comments on that one, C? Any bolters that you think should have happened, or anything else?
I was just having a quick conversation, but what was the question again, Pete?
The question was, what was your thoughts on the Triple J Hottest 100?
I was a bit sad not to see any Pop Smoke up there. I was a bit disappointed in the top 10. I haven't actually looked at the rest of the list.
Yep.
But yes, you cannot say pop and forget the smoke.
Yeah,
exactly.
I did see a bit of Mac Miller did slide its way up towards the top 30, I believe.
Mac Miller.
I think it was Blue World. I am not quite sure on that one. I know he was up there, but I don't know song as such.
Actually, no, just scrolling through at 97, Audacity by Stormzy. That was in my Spotify top 5. Shout out to my UK brother Stormzy.
Yeah,
that was cringe.
That's okay.
So, and also,
definitely very interesting top 100. Yes. You know, a bit of a trend where there's a lot of TikTok songs in there, which is kind of disgraceful in my opinion. But you know, we'll let it slide. Hopefully, 2021/2022 has a better top 100. But I agree with Heatwaves. I think good choice.
Yeah, it's a very good song.
10 wasn't bad except WAP. Okay, that was horrible.
Yep.
But very strong list of songs. Not a bad year for music.
Yep.
Yeah. Scrolling through, I have seen at 86 "Laugh Now, Cry Later" by Drake and Lil.
Okay, that is a solid song actually by Drake.
I reckon
the Kid Laroi. Let It Go. That's a good song.
What about the number 12 by Dan Andrews and Ashton Kutcher, "Get on the Beers"?
Yes.
Have you guys had a listen to that one?
I have.
No.
It is an all-time song. Produced by Ashton Kutcher, but sung by the world-class Dan Andrews, a really top-tier vocalist.
Also, at number 60, I've seen "Go" featuring Juice WRLD, R.I.P. Juice WRLD, great basketball rapper. And R.I.P. to Juice WRLD. He Kid Laroi and Juice WRLD, great song. Recommended to the viewers.
Awesome stuff.
A bit of the weekend in here. You know, he had a great year.
He did have a really strong year.
Mate, there we go.
Blinding Lights was very good tune.
Yeah,
good to see some Stormzy in there.
I do. Jack Harlow. Shout out to Jack Harlow. He's not a one-hit wonder for you guys saying he is.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd like to apologise to Jack for previous comments that I've talked about him. A former lookalike of mine. So, you know, I can't have you stealing my style, Jack, so I had to stray away from the standard old haircut, but I do apologise about that one.
Pete, if I can interrupt you there, I have seen your great song at 37 by the Kid Leroy. So done.
Yeah, I did see that. I was very impressed with my young protege. He's a big fan of mine, and I just had to. It's a very good outcome to see him rewarded with what he deserves.
Good friend of the podcast, the Kid Leroy.
Yep, he'll be a special guest very soon, I'd imagine.
Yes, very soon. And what else have we got to talk about, P? Or is it time to pack it up soon?
Well, has anyone got anything they want to have a chat to us about? Any questions from our good viewers? Fire away. We'll give you a 2-minute little shoot around. We've got a couple of comments from the big Drew Beto. He's saying, get Lando off the show. The flog is embarrassing himself and ruining the rep of this great show.
I've also seen from Drew, he wants a shout out to DN. I'd like to know who DN is, Drew Beaton, before we shout it out.
Thank you. He's also saying Triple J is for the kids who think they look cool for wearing sunglasses and button-up shirts. Well, you're probably right there, Drew, but that's alright. It's still a part of Australian culture, and we. Yeah, I signed the dotted line where that statement is there, Lando.
And also, he's a smelly little faggot. Okay, so
we don't like those sorts of words, Lando. It might get us cancelled.
The P&C podcast. I think we should allow to express ourselves as we want, you know. And Drew, we all know he's a faggot, and I think it's okay to call him out on that. Don't you think?
I don't know if I agree with that. He's a top bloke. He's really.
Yeah, but Paddy, the thing is, he's still a faggot. Okay. Drew is still a faggot, no matter like whatever way you put it. You know, like he's still a faggot. Okay. Now,
okay, but
I don't mind that, but he's still a faggot.
Yes. All right. Well, before this gets a bit too beefy, we are going to end the podcast here. Tune in next time for Volume 4. I'd like to give a shout out to DN, Drew Beto, Joshua Barnes, and Bloomy, special guest Bloomy, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
P, you got something to say to end it off?
I'd just like to thank our sponsors of the show, which is currently no one, but if you'd like to hop on board, just flick us a message and we'll be able to help you out. We've just got a couple of late comments come in from Drew Beto. It says hashtag and Lando and hashtag Lando is a faggot. So, on that note, we'll see you guys later on. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate your contributions and have a lovely night. Peace.